Alright guys, how's it going? I hope you're doing very well. Now a very quick and brief introduction, how to save your Blender file, how to put everything in the folder correctly. So when you go to upload to the render network, hopefully everything should work fine. Now I have this beautiful scene set up, I have a VDB sequence, I have some basic animation, and just for a little bit of fun, I've added cloth dynamics. Now the first thing that I recommend you do on any Blender scene, in all honesty, is to create a folder. Now as you can see here, I've created a folder, I've called it render_scene, and this means anything that I use in terms of assets, so for example the VDB sequence, I can put inside of this folder, and it means when I'm referencing externally, everything should be in all in the one place. You don't want things in the downloads folders, you don't want them in different locations coming off a Dropbox, stuff like this. You want to kind of keep your folder structure nice and clean, and that's basic advice in all honesty. The first thing that we really want to do is go to external data, and we want to automatically pack the resources, or we can just go to pack resources. What this does is that anything external, like textures for example, or files, they'll actually get put inside of the .blend file. It's a great way for gathering all your data into one point. Another thing that you can also do is if you go to cleanup, you can purge unused data. So let's say for example you've dropped down a texture inside of the shader editor, you've not used it. If you purge the data, this will get rid of everything, and it will actually make your file sizes a lot smaller and a lot cleaner file structure as well. So let's go to save as, and we'll quickly save the scene. Now it's recommended that you save the Blender scene the same as the folder. Now there's several reasons for this. One is just keeps the naming convention nice and tidy, but the other reason is you might link to an external scene, so you might have linked assets from another Blender scene. So if you know exactly what your scene is, it helps the render network. So I've saved this as render_scene.blend. Now another quick tip is if we enable the cog, you can see here compress, and what this will do is it'll compress the Blender file, and again this will make it even smaller, and that's before we even zip it. So I'm going to quickly save this as, and you'll notice that things quickly change around. So if I go to the VDB sequence now, you can see that it's now been referenced from the correct folder. Earlier on it was just randomly referenced, now it's actually inside of this folder. So when you upload it to the render network, everything should work. Now, I have cloth dynamics, and I want to quickly show you this. So I'll go to the cloth properties here, and I'll come all the way down. And you'll notice that this has actually been saved to memory. Now, because we use decentralized GPUs, in other words, every GPU gets a file or gets a frame. If this isn't baked, it won't work. It'll just basically go crazy. So it's always advised to bake things like cloth dynamics, including rigid body dynamics. If you're using rigid body dynamics, one thing to do is bake the action, which is essentially what I've done here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable disk cache, and it automatically knows exactly where the folder is, and I'm going to quickly hit bake. So this will bake everything inside of the folder. So when we go to upload, everything's now baked, now cached. It should be a little bit easier to render. So if I quickly open up the folder, you can see here I have blend cache _render scene. So everything's automatically set up, everything's now cached. You can see that the VDB sequence is here as well. And that is you're pretty much set up and ready to go. Now one thing that I do recommend is you can actually see that it's saved a backup file. So I'm going to quickly delete that from the scene. Then all I need to do is right click, compress. Now you can use anything you want, 7-zip, but I'll just use basic Windows. Now what I did learn is Windows is single threaded when it comes to zipping files. So it's actually good to use something like 7-zip. That'll use multi-threading and it'll actually zip your files a lot quicker. Now once this file has been zipped, you can upload the zip file to the render network, and hopefully that's you ready to start rendering. Thanks very much.